Normally, I have a customer already for a holster. I don't often make a holster and not have a home for it. So this one is just going on display in a gun shop. And hopefully that will lead to more holsters. That's my hope. I did that with another gun shop and it didn't really lead to any more holsters. It led to a lot of other work. Repair work and stuff like that. Repair work is kind of, I guess I'd say, my bread and butter. It's what I seem to get the most of. You know, a lot of times I'll give somebody a price and they're like, sorry. Well, you know what? It's repair work. And a lot of people aren't going to touch it. And if they do, I don't necessarily always know that they know what they're doing. I've done quite a bit of research on repairing, especially World War I and World War II leather goods. So it all comes into play. And that's probably the majority of my repair work is World War I, World War II. I do get a lot of cowboy action stuff. That seems to be probably the second biggest. You know, they'll have a holster get messed up on them, or maybe they gained a couple of pounds. It happens. I'm just kind of getting all my edge beveling done up here. The outside I can get all the beveling done and out of the way. One less thing to do later. A lot of times I'll go to my scrap bin and I'll cut something like this off another piece of leather. But what tends to happen is the next piece that you grab may be different. I was pretty careful to make sure that when I grabbed the two pieces of leather, we're going to be similar in color and they're off of the same hide. The tanning can make a difference in the coloring. And with this other holster, I didn't care so much. The body is going to be black and the two stiffeners are going to be a different color altogether, because I'm going to two-tone this one. So it's one of those things that I wanted to be as close as I could color-wise. So I needed a chocolate dye, any of the browns especially are this way. You can apply your dye, and if you've got one piece that is, say, a little bit off, it's going to dye differently. And I'm just going to dye these with a dauber. Here we go. I have my dye mat. My cutting mat and my dye mat are not the same. Here's some chocolate dye. These pill bottles are handy, I'll tell you that. This one, the only place that needs to be dyed is just right here in this tunnel on the back side. I'm going to do that last. Sit for a little bit. I'm going to dye the back of this first. Kind of want to let that sit for a few minutes. In the meantime, I'm just going to probably do the rest of this. Well, I'll go around the edges. Sooner or later that's going to have to get done anyway. Once it's soaked into the leather, it's not going to color you as much anyway. I run around with dye on myself all the time anyhow. Well, this is wet with dye, just so I don't have to wet it later. I'm going to go ahead and put my mark on it. On a holster, I'll usually put it right up here on the stiffener. It doesn't always seem like the best place to put it because it's in the back, but you know what? I don't want it where the world is going to see it. At least not on something like this. Doing it while it's wet with the dye just means I don't have to wet it later with the water. Just sanded all my edges down. When I dyed this, I went ahead and quick burnished it with my wood slicker. Right around the belt loop here, this tunnel portion needs to be slicked down. Usually I would just use tan coat on it, but I need to put something on there to hold those fibers down. And Tokenol works really well for that, and so does Gumtragacan, so don't get me wrong there. But this Tokenol, you can go around, and this is just kind of a fibrous piece, I guess. But I've been using it a lot just for finish slicking on my edges and stuff. But you can just lay it in here and burnish it right in. I'm just going to go ahead and do the edges too of this since I have it. Now you don't want to get it on the finished side because it will be like a finish, and it will block the water from absorbing in there. Which on the tunnel part here, I can deal with that, but everywhere else, I don't want that to be a problem. I had to pick up some new sandpaper. I ran out of sandpaper somehow, and I know I didn't really run out. I know I just can't find it with all the moving crap around in here. And then having to stop before I could reorganize. I know it's around here somewhere, just don't know where. So what it did, and you'll see where it hasn't been slicked as opposed to where it has been, you can see it just smoothed that right out like nobody's business. So if you needed to do that on the inside of a wallet or something, that would be so cool. And I just used my wood slicker that I picked up. I don't even know if I got this at Tandy. I might have got this on Amazon or something. And I had originally gotten this to chuck it up in my drill press, so I could use it that way. And it did work. And then I decided I didn't like it as well in there. So, I don't know. I started using it this way, and it works better this way. I know they make some for the drill press, but somebody does. I just don't have one. And my drill press is going the way of my rotary tool, so they're both kind of on their way out. So now I'm just gonna kind of do the edges, being careful not to get any on the front. So that looks pretty good there. I might grab some 320. I did pick up some 320 sandpaper. I had a feeling this stuff was gonna suck, but it is what it is. I'm gonna go ahead and finish burnishing, and then I'll cut you back on when I'm ready to apply some glue and stitch and do all that happiness.